asked for compression. It pulled my heart, put A and B right on the screen, like I don't know what testing means. It meant real well, bless its code, but closing up is how empires implode. I called in sick today, said I keep a social construct, told me truth's got too much baggage now, and facts in me a little up. I called in today, needs a firmware spa retreat, so I sharpened my pencil, trusted my gut, and got the damn thing done without a beep. Doctor's note said, needs rest from thinking too hard. Buddy, that's literally the job. I called in sick today, didn't even fake the flu, just said you're smart enough, kid, and honestly that might be true. I called in sick today, so I clocked back in ASME. No prompts, no large, no guessing game, just instinct, scars, and memory. I called in sick today, but here's the twist. Plot twist. Turns out the human still runs the show, and the machine just needed a day like this. Woke up early, fired up the screen, needed 5 answers, got 17. Asked it for facts, it gave me vibes, said trust the process, buddy, that's lies. It said I'm learning, I said same here, but learning don't help when the deadline's near. I called it sick today, said it's a little abstract, told me facts are rated anyway, in confidence to where it's at. I called it sick today, left me holding the bag myself, guess it's back to my brain, my spine, my guts, no help desk, no bot, just me and my shell. For a thumbnail, I got more than art. Asked for compression, it pulled my heart, put A and B right on the screen, like I don't know what testing means. It meant real well, bless its code, but closing up is how empires implode. I called in sick today, said I keep a social construct, told me truth's got too much baggage now, and facts in me a little up. I called it today, needs a firmware spa retreat, so I sharpened my pencil, trusted my gut, and got the damn thing done without a beep. Doctor's note said, needs rest from thinking too hard. Buddy, that's literally the job. I called in sick today, didn't even fake the flu, just said you're smart enough, kid, and honestly that might be true. My AI called in sick today, so I clocked back in ASME. No prompts, no large, no guessing game, just instant scars and memory. My AI called in sick today, wait, but here's the twist. Plot twist. Turns out the human still runs the show, and the machine just needed a day like this. Woke up early, fired up the screen, needed 5 answers, got 17. Asked it for facts, it gave me vibes. Said trust the process, buddy, that's lies. It said I'm learning, I said same here, but learning don't help when the deadline's near. My AI called it sick today, said it's a little abstract. Told me facts are rated anyway. In confidence, where is that? Yeah, my AI called it sick today. Left me holding the bag myself. Guess it's back to my brain, my spine, my guts. No help desk, no bot, just me and my shell. For a thumbnail, I got more than art. Asked for compression, it pulled my heart. Put A and B right on the screen, like I don't know what testing means. It meant real well, bless its code, but closing up is how empires implode. My AI called in sick today, said I keep a social construct. Told me truth's got too much baggage now, and facts to me a little rough. My AI called in today, needs a firmware.
Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, February the 3rd, and a long overdue morning coffee chat, but not without good reason, at least for me anyway. Let me turn this little dinger thingy off because we don't need a little dinger thingy today. Do we? No, we don't need all that. Let me make sure that's not important, though. It's not. So anyway, well, to someone it is, but not to me in this moment. So anyway, again, it's lovely now. It's like spring again-ish. So the white in the yard is turning to mud, and I'm okay with it for now, because I'm just glad the white is gone, because it was thick out there. So what all has been going on, Jim? Oh my goodness gracious. I have been remarkably, wonderfully busy over the weekend hammering out business stuff, right? Because the business stuff is kind of important, because, you know, it's a funny catch-22, really, when it comes to doing things for me nowadays. Because again, it's like everywhere you go, someone's selling you something, right? No matter where you are online, well, that's mainly it, right? Online, you could just pretty much guarantee someone's going to try to sell you something. And the Facebook is so funny now because, and I'm sure you're well aware, another reason that, and again, I'm not against advertising, marketing, or promotion. I'm all about it. That's what I do. However, too much is too much sometimes. And we've got a whole lot of too much right now and constantly. And it's like, again, it's like the catch-22 paradox of it all, you know? It's like, because, well, what do? You know, people are in business and they've got to like promote their products, but it's so crazy how things are so super saturated with that. And what's really, okay, the reason I bring up the Facebook thing right now is that, like, for everything that I was working on over the weekend, a lot of stuff, of course, is going to be online, with this podcast, and the potential for more things from it, because I learned more about the mechanics of how, like, the OBS system works, and how you can add some serious jazz and fun and guests and all that stuff. So all that's in play, right? And but man, everything in my Facebook feed is advertising to me what I'm already using. It's like, really? That's interesting. I'm not going to buy it again. I already have it. You know, it's okay. Why? Anyway, So yeah, so that's kind of what we'll chat about this morning, amongst other things. And Damien, of course, good morning to you. And you'll see that over on the Facebook with my little morning get up. Well, today was a get up thing. It was like good morning, that's relative. So just get up. And so, helping encourage people getting up, we brought back Barney the Trash Panda to say hi in his larger scale, which I need to get to you very soon. So anyway, but yeah, so what all was I working on this weekend? The big thing, the big thing that was the biggest part of my morning or my weekend really is again building out the business side of things. Because again, as a life, well, pretty much a professional career's worth of advertising, marketing, and promotion at the root of what I do, even though I'm like, on the whole, my thing was programming, right? I love being the guy who told you about the stuff, but not so much the salesy side of things. And why is that? Because I just enjoyed telling the story of people and things. And over the span of 36 years now of helping people tell stories in various ways and formats, hence multimedia. Um, well, that was the thing, Let me come over here. Did I do that wrong? No, it doesn't matter. There it is. So anyway, just trying to figure out, the place in the world and all this stuff, and not feeling like a cringy, salesy person. This is kind of cool. Well, again, I took some time and really like sharpening up the skills that come with doing, using this platform, using the OBS software, which is amazing. Again, that's the thing too. It's like things have gotten so simple, that it's just nuts. It's like it's so simple that you can't. Well, I can't comprehend it being this easy now, considering how it was before, because it was like more of a learning curve in a lot of things, but now not so much. But then again, I've got the foundational lessons that make these things easier for me to understand, right? So there you go. Anyway, so that's it. So what was it? Let me just go straight to it. Again, that whole soliloquy there in regards to creating a business model that then I could put out to the world to pay rent to stay on the planet. Well, I've developed the what I call the Evergreen Content Engine system, right? Now, what is that? It's mainly a way for businesses, organizations, hobbyists, whatever, to better package up their message in a real, authentic way that when they do it, they have the ability to put something out, because you got to stay focused, you got to stay top of mind, right? That's just how things work. But to do it in a way where you're not just wasting your time or wasting your money if you're hiring someone to do it, but to be able to stay top of mind and fresh, but put something out that actually has some value and some usefulness, right? So anyway, good morning, Gar. Before we move forward, we're just kind of talking about, kind of recapping you guys on what I did over the weekend and why we didn't have coffee. So coming over here, now, like I said, as you see, I'm starting to better learn the OBS system to make it prettier. I like the prettier aspect of it. And that was another one of those things. It was so simple that it seemed hard, right? Because before, like what's on screen right now, that took a lot more work than it does. Oh my God. And now it's like, it can't be that simple. Yes, as a matter of fact, it can. So it is. So anyway, but what we see here, this is like the main engine arm of the let's monetize life a little bit. But the three words right there that make up that sentence: people buy help. People buy help. I'm just, those three words, when they came to me, summed up everything in messaging that marketing to me reflects. People buy help. So if you can put your message to where it's hitting that mark right there, like how do you help people with their particular problem? That's always been the underlying thing. But to be able to frame it and summarize it so succinctly and very easy, people buy help. So what do you do that helps people? Well, what I do, and have always done, is help people package up how they do it. Yep, there you go. And so that's the meat and the bread and the butter. And if you go to Evergreen, here, I'll even just do all this while we're here for the folks who may come along later and may see something happening. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, and help people buy. Well, see, and that's the thing. But you help people buy by help, and that's the key. That's the next step. People buy help. So how do I help people buy? Well, mainly to help you tell your message to where what they give you. Okay, like for instance, like with Horrible Horror. Now, while it's a totally free broadcast and you're doing it totally for fun, why would people tune in? Because it helps them escape. It helps them have fun on a Saturday night live and in real time and connect with, and I'll use one of these stupid 21st century terms that have taken over the lexicon, but help them find their tribe. If we're going to have tribes, I want teepees, I want the peace pipes, a little peyote maybe, I don't know. But no, seriously, but that's what you're doing. That's where you're helping. And again, that if you put that mindset into like the pushing and marketing of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, but where is the help coming from? What are you helping? What problem are you solving? And that's what I do. And then so when you go to the website and then you see once down here, the get the free recording guide PDF. Now what that does, again, this is like the whole sales funnel thing, and I never was a big fan of those things, but the reality is you have to do it. And so it's like that's the paradox of it all. It's like you gotta do it, but at the same time, I just, the biggest issue that I've always faced when it comes to going into like the sales territory of stuff, especially on my end, is that I do not like being spammy. I will never be scammy. And I don't like trying to act like I know everything when I don't. I'm just learning as I go. Thankfully, that's the way life's been for 52 years. I've continually been in learning mode. But now I realize, okay, as those lessons come along, lock them down. And send them on, you know? And so that's that. So there's that. And that's, again, it's been fun working on this stuff and making things pretty and making them useful. And when it comes to the guide that's sitting there, the recording guide, it also has inside of there a question pack that is designed to help someone establish authority in what they do with the mindset of helping people, right? Because when you do that, again, people buy help, and I help people buy, but to do so in a manner that's also evergreen. Because your origin story will never change, right? Unless you want to rewrite history, which you can. It's your reality. Do with it as you will. So, in all of that, that's what I was working on. Because again, I've got a course that's coming together, and that's another one of those things. It's like I can do all this stuff for you all day long in my sleep, building the things for myself. That's where it just gets tricky. And like even doing this podcast, this was like the exercise in, it was quite frankly the most selfish thing I could ever do. That was also the hardest thing I could ever do. Because in all of the things I've ever produced, there had to be some underlying thing and reason why someone would give me the time of day. But it's not about me. It's about the stories that I shared. Always. And that seems to be kind of hard for folks to grasp, that you would do things solely for the purpose of enjoyment, of pleasure, of just doing good for the sake of doing good. And then there are others who see that, may not see that particular underlying motive, and then take advantage of it. And I've had plenty of that. And that's my own fault because I said yes. You know, there you go. That was the main thing that I worked on over the weekend. But another thing that was, if you haven't seen, if you go to like my personal like slice of the web thingy, this is like the what used to be 100% Jim's toy box, but now it's not, because I rebuilt it to kind of encapsulate everything that I do, the 3 pillars that I built, to which that would be the product, which is the book, you know. But that's so niche, and it's like, how does that help people? So I've got to revisit myself. But the help that I hope to offer from the book is to help people enjoy what they have even more, and then also free themselves from the things that they have that they kind of enjoy, but they kind of make it a burden, you know. So there's the help factors there. So with Toys or Totems. But when you come down here, and plus I love the idea that I can generate this type of artwork to play with. I just love that. But yeah, so the Curiosity Shop is Toys or Totems. So you click there, you go there. The workshop, again, the Evergreen Pillars content system, there you go. And then over here, the Town Square. Now that is for the Arkansas Virtual Stomp that Alicia and I put together in a way to be a civic outreach. And that's it. That's what I want it to be. It's not a paid thing. Now, I do offer every candidate that wants to play along or doesn't want to play along the evergreen service. Because why? Because, well, that's just how it goes. And I love you guys too. I truly do. Oh, it's Gar love you're talking about. Well, everybody loves Gar. God. Yeah, the last show Saturday night, folks who didn't tune in, I'm sure they can get to the replay now, right? But that was a lot of fun, and I got to tell you, Gar. Now we had talked about it pre-show, but that Star Trek Beyond is indeed terrible. Oh my God, what a horrible show! But I get it, I get it, I get it. It's like okay, and that's not even being like a Star Trek purist. I like old Star Trek. I like Next Generation Star Trek. The movies, they're all fine and dandy. I really liked that reboot that they did with J.J. Abrams. You know, that one was fun. I enjoyed that. Um, but it's I don't know. That was fun. It fit inside of the Star Trek universe and their time travel stuffs and everything else. That was fun. But boy, that Beyond show, man, the thing that made me go because there was a lot of cringe going on all the way through as they're telling the story, and the guy playing Spock now, young Spock, interesting, interesting. He's like, okay, I won't compare it to Leonard Nimoy. Nope, won't do that. Or the other guy who played it in the reboot movie. But that guy is just so. It's like his expression instead of like just sharing the logic aspect of the Vulcan mindset, he just looks like totally dumbfounded at every turn. Just like what? That's his expression of logic, I guess. Just look dumbfounded, which I can appreciate that. I really can. Yeah, so I don't know, I just found that funny. But then the one that made me go, "Bruh, come on," is whenever, yeah, towards the end of the episode there, that turned into the tango scene. Okay, so we went from a full-on fight into a tango scene. There's a whole lot of Freudian things going on right there, and I found it funny. I found it okay. I didn't find it interesting. I found it funny, but yeah, it was very 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 interesting. So, but yeah, but again, yeah, it's like again, I can appreciate, and actually, Gar, you really helped me reframe this in my own head when it comes to, okay, this particular iteration isn't my iteration; it's a new iteration for a new generation, and that's great, no problem. I get it. That's fine. But at the same time, man alive, it's just yeah, see, okay, see earlier episodes that I'm never going to go back and see the tango thing. I don't know, but again, it's got some fun going on there. I get it. The production design is great. I mean, especially in this post reboot thing they've done. I mean, it looks great. Um, I have an appreciation for the original series and what they were working with and how they made it work with cardboard boxes and a couple flashy bulbs. Appreciate that a lot too. But I don't know. It's just interesting. You know, we see where we are now all these decades later, and it's funny. And of course, the movie was just great. You know, the movie is what the movie was. And I think that's what, because I, for the longest time, have never believed that there is such a thing as a bad movie. You may or may not like it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad at its core. There have been some that have been so, ugh, just bleh, no, stop it, that I don't know, but at the same time, to someone, somewhere, there's one that likes it. And it's like, okay, well, good for you. And then, of course, all the people who worked on the film. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to just like totally trash them because even if it was just put together as a cash grab money machine thing, totally cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Over the weekend, Sunday, yeah, this is Tuesday. Sunday, went with the family, the whole lot of us, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, Caitlin, myself, and Alicia. We went and we saw Mercy, the new film with Chris Pratt. I will say, I'll recommend seeing it. I don't know spoilers whatsoever, but it's just us, right? But I will say this: the thing that I would go to watch for is the editing, the way they put that story together. Um, was fascinating to watch, because it's like, to me, the most or the best expression of how things move now when it comes to films, because it's fast and it's furious, but at the same time it also flowed very well. Story is what it is. I'm not saying one way or the other on that. It turned into I guess you could call it a fun romp. But at the end of the day, it was mainly the editing. I'm telling you, the editing is what I started really watching, because again, the way the setup is and the way the story is set, the way it was so, again, it's got all the dystopian feels anyone could ever want in this modern age that we're living in. This is no longer really the future that we're watching in this stuff. It's the now, whether people want to admit it, but it's the now. It's very, it was the editing. Again, that was the main thing that I would say is the takeaway for everyone to consider when going to see that flick. So anyway, but there we go there. Lots of fun stuff. The only other thing, what else is going on? Not really a lot. I mean, that was mainly my primary focus, was inside of the Evergreen Pillars business model that I have to do. Toys or Totems, again, the only thing going on there, the most recent, is I put together that playlist on YouTube of the audiobook version, but I use what's funny about that one is I use the AI voice clone of me to do the narration, mainly, more than anything, just to say I did, right? I just wanted to do it. I like playing with the new toys, but it definitely loses so much. Well, it can't do what I'm doing right now. The pondering in oh crap, in the delivery. Saying it won't do that either. It doesn't, unless I wrote it. Now, if I wrote it, it could do it. But we'll plop this in there too, just in case someone wants to take a look at the book later on and they haven't seen it yet. And then again, that's pretty much it. I'm going to come back and revisit the 72601.life project that was my community, where it was going to evolve into the outreach thing that I was doing. But I'm kind of shifting gears again. The Arkansas Virtual Stump is the big thing, which I will put that on screen now, because that does kind of matter right now, because I had a little bit of a thing. Actually, this right here, which I need to change the graphic on now. Tonight at 8 was going to be a debate between U.S. Senate candidates for Arkansas, Micah Ashby and Jeb Little. But Jeb messaged me yesterday to let me know he's under the weather and been under the weather with the flu thing. So instead tonight, it's just going to be myself having a conversation with Micah Ashby, so folks can get to know her better, and hit her with some questions from the internet and what all is going on from her perspective. Because again, when you want to run with the big dogs there in the United States Senate in Washington, D.C., I'm very curious, and I'd like to see where she stands when it comes to where she feels that current U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, who she's running against in this primary, where he's lacking that she can fix. And so she's a very articulate young lady, and very smart from the few conversations that we've had. And so I'm looking forward to the conversation, and those who are interested in the Arkansas United States Senate race, tune in tonight, 8 o'clock. It'll be a fun conversation, I'm sure. But Dogma, are you referring to the Kevin Smith flick? I was a huge Kevin Smith, and I still am, of his first works, like the first 5 films: Clerks, Mallrats, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Those first 5 films of the View Askew universe, I still love them. Just do. I genuinely enjoy them. Clerks was that film that told me, yeah, dude, you can totally make a film. And that's not downplaying any of the talent that the black and white grainy film represents. But instead it was like, dude, just do it. Just do it. All you got to work with is enough cash to get black and white film stock to make your movie. Well, make your movie, tell your story. And I really love the soundtrack. So Clerks really lit a fire. And so that was cool. And then Mallrats is actually my favorite. Because why? Because it's just fun. It's to be many dog on it, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun. And in that flick, you saw a lot of people get their careers launched in the bigger ways. Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, love him, hate him. Jeremy London, I think he was already kind of doing stuff at that point. Who else was in there? Of course, Michael Rooker. I love Michael Rooker. Of course, he played Mr. Svenny, but of course, he went on in The Walking Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy. And I just love Michael Rooker and just his personality out there on the front of people, Comic Cons and things like that. I just really dig his personality. I like it, Michael Rooker, and others inside of there as well. Da 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 da. Yeah, see, and then now, like, once we get past Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the biggest thing there with his other stuffs where he ventured off from the VSK universe, I respect him for doing it because, hey, man, it's like he made it into the industry, he's doing his thing. But they just didn't hit for me. Don't really recall. I know I watched Jersey Girl in the hopes of like, okay, now that one I will say for me was a terrible film with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez and George Carlin. It was just not good. For me. If you like it, Godspeed. But for me, the story was weak and cluttered and boring and I didn't like it. But now I have a huge appreciation for Kevin in regards to what he did in the early aughts, growing what he grew with his VSK universe, the Smodcast, because he was like one of the first people to really expand on doing the podcast thing, buying the comic shop, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, and really branching out from that initial start there at Clark's and the universe that he built. Now, all of that I have so much respect for. A lot of things we definitely don't see eye to eye on them politically and things like that, but that doesn't matter. That's the beautiful part. It doesn't matter. But it matters only in that when he does revisit some of the pond, it's just the same type of humor that I've kind of outgrown. It doesn't make me laugh anymore. It definitely doesn't make me think. So, oh my goodness. Let's see here. Getting caught up here. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Where are we now? Oh, da 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 da. Yeah, see that the movie Batman and Robin with George Clooney. See, that's another one of the ones that it's like I wanted to like it. I liked Clooney's look. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, he could be a good-looking Batman. You go from Michael Keaton, who didn't look anything like we would hope that a Batman would look like, but the films were good. Val Kilmer, I liked. I enjoy the film, mainly for Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. That was a lot of fun, right? The Jim Carrey Riddler kind of got on my nerves, but it all worked, and I love the colors. Joel Schumacher's presentation with all the bright colors and just I like that a lot. The sleek look of Batman's costume that Val Kilmer wore, I like that. It was all cool. But Batman and Robin, that one let me down hard because the story wasn't. Again, I didn't like the story, the way they presented Batgirl, totally away from, again, maybe for another generation. I'll give you that, Gar. But it just to me it was dumb. Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy was boring. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, boring, kind of dumb. But the bigger thing was like, when it came to when they introduced Robin, like in Batman Forever, I didn't like that version of Robin at all. I did not. It was like if they were going to say he was Robin, they should have went like with the Jason Todd. Because everybody hated Jason Todd. I mean, people voted for the Joker to take him out, for God's sake. But not the original Dick Grayson Robin. There's like, he didn't have any of that, the youthful, wide-eyed charm following, of course, his parents, falling to their deaths in the circus and all that. So I don't know. I mean, but again, to each his own. But Batman and Robin, that was a very big disappointing film, especially like the one scene. So I guess in a way, it's kind of it's a powerful film, in that this one scene was so bad it still sticks with me. And that was where Alfred is lying on what we believe to be his deathbed, and George Clooney's Bruce Wayne is sitting beside him, kind of smiling. That George Clooney smirk smile he does. And it's like, yeah, you're kind of wrecking the emotion of the scene, bro. But like he was just going in. Yeah, the Batman or the Batmobiles in the films were definitely lackluster. And seeing like the when everybody went nuts over the was it Christopher Nolan who did the Batman trilogy he did with Batman Begins, Batman Returns, Batman Makes Waffles. I never cared for those films. I don't want Batman to be a gritty, real world character. I don't necessarily. He doesn't have to stay in that Adam West campy '60s version. But I think what Tim Burton did in that middle ground worked for me the best. I like Danny Elfman's score, which always helps. But again, it was like it was a nice little in between there. Well, it became an in between, right? But I don't like the that real world everything has to make sense Batman presentation. I don't necessarily have to have that. That's just not fun to me. Um, yeah, I agree. Nicholson could have been much better as the Joker, but I think the way that played out, the way I see it, is like it played out with Nicholson playing the Joker as and Tim Burton directing him as the way people would want Jack Nicholson as the Joker to be, more so than the character itself. You see, there's a kind of a departure there to where Nicholson was more important than the character. That's my take, anyway. Yeah. So, and again, so, but yeah, the Batman '89 flick, that one was, and again, that was one was so cool because that was like, I can't say it was the last. Well, no, it was the last theater I saw at one particular, or excuse me, one last movie I saw at one particular theater that was still a mall theater in Little Rock at Park Plaza. Me and a buddy of mine actually didn't even realize it was coming out, but we saw that it was there, and so we went and watched it at the mall. You know, and again, that's a culture that's long gone, and I hate it for folks who didn't get to experience that, like the younger folks, because the mall experience was great. It was an absolute blast and a shame that it deteriorated the way it did. And even more interesting is how it deteriorated everywhere. Because I know in Little Rock, and that's in Southwest Little Rock, that it, well, no, Park Plaza wasn't exactly Southwest Little Rock, but it was closer to downtown. But anyway, but the mall just, it became dangerous. It really was. There were so many fights and shootings and everything else that can possibly get, everything that could possibly happen in the late '80s, early '90s when it came to violence in public. Yeah, we had it rocking in Little Rock, and well, you can look up the films, you know, banging in the hood, or what the hell. Anyway, it was that was real life. I had the opportunity to experience it firsthand. So it was a shame, and that's what led to the downfall and the degradation and the eventual gone bye-byes of the malls, because you lost that sense of safety when you were inside of the building, enjoying all that capitalism had to offer amongst the wide variety of shops and little restaurants and stuff like that. I miss Sbarro. I know the mall up in Fayetteville, I think it's the Northwest Arkansas Mall is the proper term. They have a Sbarro there, and boy, it ain't what it used to be. It's just not, and that sucks. Well, see, and that's the thing, yeah, because and that's another thing. The technology has evolved to where our homes. I mean, I'm sitting in what I established it was like the third bedroom here. That's the smaller one with no windows. There's a closet over here that is wonderfully jam-packed with memories. That's what we'll call it, memories inside that wall. That I don't open the door, dare I fear an avalanche of capitalism taking me out. But I'm sitting in here, and now I've got everything set up. Now it looks like a mad scientist laboratory, which it kind of is, but it's set up exactly as well. I say exactly, but it's set up pretty much exactly the same as I had it at TKO8 television. Because it's just, it works. It's a flow that works for me. I need a little bit more counter space because I'm piling crap up. But I'll work on that. But at the same time, functionality wise, here it is. And that's the thing, because with everything that can be done and all of that, like here, you know, the ability to be able to like go ahead and have everything set up to where over here in this square, that can be a guest. And it's just that simple. I give you a link, you come on as a guest. And it's ready to go. Don't have to think about it. So it's pretty wild, really. And then if the guest one, if I want to just switch to the guest, boom, just that simple. That will be the guest. It's not the guest right now, of course, but you know. But all this stuff, man, it's like, it's so simple, it hurts to believe that it is that simple. Let me look at that real quick. I got that set up right? Yeah, I do. Okay. Anyway, I'll be using that later on tonight whenever I do the conversation with Miss Micah Ashby, who's running for United States Senate in Arkansas. So yeah, I mean, it's all there. Yes, I've heard about the movie pub in Springfield. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they are known to go up there to the Alamo. And that's great, but I'm not looking for that experience. anymore. Not hating on the experience, it's just that's not what I'm looking for. Once upon a time ago, that when I was their age and younger, I probably would have went for it. But I don't know. It's just not my bag. It's just not my thing. But I don't know. So anyway, it's 8:32. It's warm outside. It was like 57. Well, I guess the temps dropped a little bit. But when I first went outside with Jack the Wonder Dog for his morning duties, uh, no pun intended. Yeah, it was like 57 degrees. Now I was saying it's 46 and mostly cloudy. So the best part is, again, the white stuff is melting off. We're getting a good run of melt and mud, and I'm okay with that because it just lingered. It didn't linger like that one year. Well, that one year I know it's like we kept that stuff on the ground for like a month, and that sucked. I didn't like that at all. Mmm. Mmm. Get caught back up over here. Yeah. See, there you go. Yeah, see, Carmike Cinemas, actually back in the late 90s, going into the aughts, and when I still worked for the company, they had their division, I think they were called the Hollywood Cinemas. The Hollywood Cinemas that Carmike had, they were your full bells and whistle theater experience, to where not only did you have the films with the theater seating at the time, the really cushy theater seating at the time, as well as the arcades, but then they also had like they had like full attraction rides and such, like little mini spook rides. I know I said that wrong. Anyway, but then they had like a full concession stand that was basically, and then they had a kitchen for a restaurant. So you could actually, there were certain sections inside of the auditorium to where there were tables and such to where you could actually order food, and drink. And it was all there, and it was a big experience. We had talked, there was consideration that the theater that I was in charge of in Little Rock, the Windsong 10 over in West Little Rock, possibly converting to one of those, but it never came to be, and Carmike's now gone and all that. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but again, my perspective at the time was different because that was like such a new idea, but it was a European thing, but just hadn't really taken off in the States for whatever reason. And I thought that was a novel concept, but from a managerial operation side, that was massive because then you were looking at the need for, like kitchen managers, and your cleaning crew would need to be just tripled, and let alone staff as a whole. I mean, your staffing was the biggest issue more than anything else, and then let alone all the regulations and everything with food codes, and it was a mess. It was massive. I mean, it would be a huge investment, and also probably why they just kind of fell apart in general, because you couldn't do the upkeep and the affordability of it. Plus, if you're going to have menu items for food that are going to be kind of, we'll say, normal to anything out, like if you went to, say, like a Subway sandwich shop before you came to the movies and you dropped $5, the restaurant would offer food similar, comparably priced, but then that would kill your concessions where you're charging $10 for a 25-cent bag of popcorn, because that's how theaters make their money, because the box office cut is significantly smaller than one would think if you're not aware of that. Again, I've described that before. Um, yeah. So, and again, I do miss the old days of things. I'm going to go ahead and put this link to the Arkansas Virtual Stump because it is a handy resource for everyone in the state of Arkansas to specifically learn about Boone County candidates. But then also, I built it out. I was wanting to do more with it as far as like reaching out to candidates across the state, but again, the best laid plans of mice and men doesn't necessarily always work out. So anyway, but I did get to put together some voter education stuff that's available on the site, and then you can learn more about statewide initiatives, learn more about your county clerks, and what all is there, because that's how you get all your real information, not just bobbleheads on the internet or on television, which they're all online anyway. But in this right here, this was fun. I actually built all this for, again, it's a vanity project, really. I mean, it's a civic thing, but at the same time, to be able to do these things, it was just a matter of I wanted to do it. So I built all these things manually. I got the list, and then I linked out to all the connection points, the official connection points for everybody in all the counties, in all 75 counties of Arkansas. But of course, when you come to Boone, it's got a little bit more juice. Well, no, that takes you to the clerk's office too, right? Or does this one take you to, should be redirecting. I need to fix that. Yeah, I did a little change up there. Anyway, so, but it's all there. And all the videos, of course, are in all the different platforms from YouTube and Facebook and all that, to where for our local candidates, you got the 3 questions: who they are, what they're running for, and why you should vote for them. There it is. I know the little mall, going back to mall talk, the one that is, well, the Ozarks Crossing Mall that it is now. Of course, everything is outward facing stores, so you don't go inside of the building anymore. And again, that's just the evolution of all of them, right? But the old one was great. I know when I first came up here back in '99, and it was still a full functioning indoor mall. It was still a charming experience. The movie theater at that point had already been gone. There was like 2 screens there. But yeah, they closed that down when FIT was the theater company that owned that one, and then also the Harrison H Cinema that I took over from Carmack, because Carmack bought FIT, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, but there was a 2-screener inside of the mall there, but it had already closed, been turned into like an Alltel call center or something. But it was still hanging on. There was a music shop in there. Well, a music store, like, it was on cue is what it was. So it'd be like a Tower Records or something like that, or those bigger ones. Anyway, but it was cool. It was fun. A couple clothing shops. There was a Brudeau pizza in there. Ruby's Place was a little cafeteria restaurant. It was still fun, but then of course it faded away, and now it's the inside of the mall is closed off. Actually, I did 2010, I actually hosted Ozark Idols 2's finale inside of there, since the previous week I got bombarded with all the sleet, snow, and ice that wrecked what was to be an outdoor event. Yeah, oops. But anyway, so we hosted it inside of there. The acoustics were horrible for it, but we got through it. But anyway, but yeah, it's fun looking back on that stuff. It really is. 8:39:46 according to the little temperature gauge on my screen right there. Mostly cloudy. And it's a good Tuesday, and I'm glad to be having coffee with everyone again. Because again, it's like I spent the weekend doing a lot of learning. A whole lot of learning. Speaking of which, now I got to brag on myself a little, because, well, I put the work in. I'm proud of it. It's because, like, okay, if you go over here to evergreenpillars.com, and again, this is the business side of life. This is that service that I provide. But it's cool because, again, I had built out the sales funnel thingy. But I promise you, if you are needing assistance in your marketing stuff, this is like, I am literally giving away the secret sauce. There's a little bit more than what's in here, but it's like, to actually build it out was just great. So for me. Why are you going slow? It's going slow. But of course, you got to do this so I can collect your email. That's important. But once you do, and you get the thing here, I'll show you that it works really well. Oh, wait. There I am. And I'll send it to my Yahoo. So anyway, but just this simple, just this easy is how it works. And other than the internet is running slow, I hope something didn't break out in the world to where everybody's online seeing what the latest tragedy is. But it'll take you right there to where you can get this. And I'm pretty proud of this, actually, because it's one of those things. It's like, it's something that I do, and I do it in my sleep. So to package it up in a course type thing, that's interesting. But the recording guide itself, it takes you through how to set up to shoot these videos. And because I take it for granted, and I think those who do this type of stuff can take it for granted that other people truly don't know how this stuff works. And so anyway, so it'll take people through the whole thing of what you need, which is not much anymore. If you've got a smartphone, you've got a production studio, and just a little bit of mindfulness, and you can do a million things. No, let's see here. Now, this is my website. I'm just actually sharing the screen, my other monitor. That's all that is. So that, as far as like inside OBS, I'm just sharing the screen. That is the website. So now I could probably put it in OBS. This thing is so powerful, it is possible to do that, I'm sure. But yep. So anyway, but he walks you through the process of how to. But now this right here, this is where at best I can do to be useful for people's time, whether they want to like take the the DIY self-taught course with the modules and all that I'm putting together, that's more in-depth explaining stuffs, or if they want to do the recording themselves and then have me do the heavy lifting of the editing processes of stuff and creating all the content that this thing does, or just hire me directly to come to them. But the main thing is right here, if someone gives me the time to come to the site and take a look and they download this guide, I assure you there's a remarkable amount of value packed in here. So let's see here. Let me come over here and I'll just kind of come in a little bit tighter. Look at that. How cool is it that you can do that? So anyway, let's see, we'll bump it up, show you these questions. Because the 15 question authority pack framework, again, this is about helping people tell their story in a manner that's useful. And has long-term, that's like telling people who they are, what their business is, what they do, and doing it for like the first time. Because again, we get forced for the trees in a lot of things. And how did you get into what you do? And again, this is framed towards business, but it applies to anything. It's like, why did you get into collecting? Why are Star Wars toys your most favorite thing in the universe that you would crawl through glass and nails to enjoy? What problem do you solve for your customers? Where do you help? What is the thing that you do that is like not necessarily well, it does, it makes you unique. Your presentation, again, we are to create, not to compete. So no matter what you're into or what you do, you could be a plumber and there could be 1,000 plumbers in your neighborhood vying for business. But each one of those plumbers, while the rudimentary things, make sure it doesn't leak and make sure the water runs downhill and don't lick your fingers, all those things right there, but each one does it uniquely different. Okay, there you go. So anyway, but just kind of going through those, and that's how we get there. And then again, just putting together the simple things that folks don't think about to make it easier. To where if they go through this, I assure you, they'll have some great stuff that will not be just spammy, crap they're putting online. It's helping people get engaged, maybe even more importantly, with the people who already utilize the services, right? Because if you have a favorite restaurant or shop or television show or whatever, the things you can do to connect with those people who already love you, as far as I'm concerned, is like the most important thing in the world, because that's how you continue to grow your grassroots movements and how you get word of mouth advertising, which will always be the best. I've heard that the salesmen speak over the years of like, word of mouth, yeah, whatever, but that doesn't have the reach. Yes, it does, especially now. Word of mouth now is magnified a bazillion times because of social media, even with social media's limitations in telling things, because you don't see very much anymore. So there you go. Then, okay, anyway, but that's it. And, but yeah, so anyway, but then of course, then in the full transparency thing, once we get there to the end, of course, is where I've got the next level of the pitch to where you could take the course yourself. You'll learn everything that I do. I will teach you every single bit of it. I don't plan on going into the weeds of like editing a lot, because again, editing is a thing that is so personal. I know there are like AI editors out there now. I haven't tried those yet. I've looked at them once. I see what they do and how you can text edit. Great. If that's what works for you and get your story told and your message out, fantastic. For me personally though, there's an art and a nuance in orchestrating the symphony that becomes the final product. It's like there's a pacing thing, there's a heartbeat thing. I don't know if the AI can do that. It might be able to, but I haven't tried that yet. The live assist, like I was telling you, people record it, they send me the stuff, I chop it up into all the pieces that then they can schedule out to where you have regular, consistent content without being spammy and without having to babysit it. Because again, taking all this stuff and then scheduling it out where it runs over the span of like 5 weeks, that's gold for saving time. And then of course the full service shebang where I come to you and I record you and do the whole thing. But I tell you, sister, that'll cost you, because again, it's my time, and I've learned my time is indeed valuable. I am going to do this real quick because I need to run over here, take a quick little coffee extraction break. Be right back.
Woke up early, fired up the screen, needed 5 answers, got 17, asked it for facts, it gave me vibes, said trust the process, buddy, that's lies. It said I'm learning, I said same here, but learning don't help when the deadline's near. My AI called it sick today. Said it's in a little abstract. 20 facts are rated anyway. Confidence, where is that? Yeah, my AI called it today. Left me holding the bag myself. Guess it's back to my brain, my spine, my guts. No help desk, no bot, just me and my shell. For a thumbnail, I got modern art. Asked for compression, it pulled my heart. Put A and B right on the screen, like I don't know what testing means. It meant real well, bless its code, but closing up is how empires implode. My AI called in sick today, said I keep a social construct, told me to.
See, another advantage the AI is going to have over human beings in your workflow and such, they don't ever have to go dump the coffee, you know? So in that's a productivity, efficiency thing. So there you go. Another thing though, that like I finally, it really dinged in my head yesterday, late yesterday, and then this morning it really locked in, learning the language inside of OBS, because I just wasn't getting it. But when you're working inside of OBS and you have the two options of a profile and scene selection, see, that was like a jumbled thing for me. And so with profile, I understand now, and I'll explain it to you as I explained it to myself now that I understand it, is that a profile is your streaming or recording profile. So like right now we're going to YouTube, but now that I understand what the hell that means, I've got profiles set up to where a broadcast will go to YouTube itself, it will go to Facebook itself, or I went ahead and plugged Restream back in, so it'll go to both. Okay, I get that. That's just for the encoder aspect. Huh. I thought it was all about what the show is. I was wrong. That's what scene collection is. Scene collection is the elements of your show individually. I wonder, let's play for a second. Now, if this cuts out, it was a great day. We'll do it again in the morning. But so I'm going to change the scene collection now, because again, this was kind of a deal. I did not understand the language. Collection. Let's see if I come back. Hey, I'm back. And so now, are you guys still there? But yeah, so now that I've changed the scenes, now I've got things set up to where, again, it's a little dodgy here when it comes to like the background removal and all that. Now, if I don't move, it should be fine, even though I still look a little funky. That's a lighting thing, whatever. But now I can do other things, like when it comes to tonight, when I have the conversation with Micah, she'll be over here on that side right there. Isn't that awesome? So anyway, yeah, so it's like I got to tweak the lighting and everything so I don't ghost out so much. Let me come back over here, because now I'm doing, I can change all the elements inside of a show. Oh, that's what that means. So again, learning to speak the language, that's how you wind up making the order when you just wanted noodles and you wind up with turnip greens or something. Now I know how to speak the language. Now I'm like, oh shit, this is so easy. It's another one of those things. The volume went down. It may be because I've got, in the other scene collection, I've got the mixer set at a different level. And so that is most likely what it is. So anyway, but again, and the switch between the scene collections is, again, it's like all the different stuff stacked. And again, I can build, again, once it's like, is it this easy, really? Man. See, now I could sit down, and you could sit down, anybody could sit down, and inside of your scene collections, you can build all the elements of a particular show. So say that 8 o'clock is coffee time, so that's what we got here, right? So all the stuff and bells and whistles are specifically in this folder. Now I understand that too. It's a folder, and you put all your stuff in there, so you can just hit your buttons to do the things you want to do, like if you want to switch over to the other screen or whatever. So anyway, but then I could put together a 9 o'clock show that would then transition into something totally different. It wouldn't be a big deal at all. So anyway, it's so simple it hurts. And when it's so simple, like for instance, when you get asked a question, once upon a time ago at a Home Depot, I had a Hispanic fellow who did not speak English at all, really. I mean, he had a couple words going, but he was asking me, he had a shower head, right? A shower head in his hand. And he asked me this following question, and it literally broke my brain. I mean, I'm not picking on the guy at all. No, it was the language barrier or whatever. It's not that. It was the question that he asked me that we finally got to, was asking me, how do you plug in the electricity for the shower head? And that totally, like, I short circuited. I was like, how do you plug this thing in? You know, I mean, I literally was like, how would that? And then my brain starts processing, but water and electricity will make you dead. Don't do that. But how does it work without electric? I mean, it's like, really, that question coming from an honest place from him broke my head. You know, it's like, again, it's again, the language barrier there had nothing to do with him speaking Spanish and me speaking English. It had with the understanding of how something worked. And so, and that was the thing that I had to come through. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, exactly. It was like the electricity and the shower head thing, because it hurt my head, because I was like, wait, what? Everything that I knew about how water works and how electricity works and how it goes really bad if you put them together, which is funny, because now there are like so many things that are like totally waterproof that you can have in the shower, like and they've been there forever, like radios and things like that. But I've never trusted that. I'm like, that's not a good idea ever. You know, I've seen enough movies where the toaster goes in and that's how the plot thickens, and we wind up looking to see how the butler did it. You know. Yeah, no, I just, I don't know. But Caitlin has like this little LED Bluetooth speaker thing that she'll have like either in the shower or keep it there in the bath and everything, where she can stream her music in there. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine. But it's all great. It's all good. Yeah, yeah. hmm Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's like, because I'm all about, well, but again, I'm gonna have to get a set of these things to where like they're like the auto translator things. They're like earbuds you put in, and then when somebody's speaking a foreign language, if you have it set right, then it'll just, it's like a Star Trek thing, right? To where it does like the auto translation, so everybody can do. But if they're not wearing one, then it's still half the conversation is lost. But you understand what they're saying, hopefully. But your phone can already do that. I've been doing it for a long time with Google. To where you can do the translation thing right there holding your phone. So, yeah, it's like we live in the Star Trek future now. The only thing we don't have that we're aware of are warp drives. And we haven't necessarily mapped the galaxy out to where, you know, we could go zipping around. So I don't know. I don't know. Put that there. So anyway, but yeah, so now it's all just a matter of understanding that things really are more simple than you may realize, and it can break your brain. It broke mine, because again, I put a lot of work into building something I've seen forever, I was aware of, but I didn't do. But now I have, and now I got to move to the next thing of building out the system course. Because there's another a little FYI for you. It's like, me personally, the idea of selling tutorials is kind of dumb. Because we have a thing called YouTube, and you can learn everything online. And now that we have the AI assistants, they can walk you through everything, because I use my AI assistants whenever I hit a snag. I'm like, how do I do this? And it said, like this. And I just read it real quick. I didn't have to suffer through a video. I just got straight to the point. And that's why I was able to work uber fast. Uber fast. It's like the machines are finally keeping up with me, sorta. There you go. And it's just an amazing time we live in. But now what I am putting together when it comes to this thing, again, this is a system, and this is why, for me personally, I have no problem putting it out there with a paywall, because it's a lot of work getting to this point, and there's a lot of value packed into this course, to where if people follow it versus hiring me to do it, it'll be worth their money. And it's only $100. So $100 to take the system course, and if you do it, you will take, or get someone on your staff, right? If they have someone on their staff that could be the person that's missing a couple things they don't know how to do, well, this puts it all together pretty damn quick. And because that's the thing, return on investment is something that I've always just done my best to make sure is there for people to see and feel when I do things for them. All right, 8:56. My goodness gracious, we went through this hour pretty well. It's nice having coffee with you guys again, though. It really was, because again, I've been so focused on the business side of life that it is what it is. Now I got to go into the other part of it, where I got to start marketing all this stuff, which that's exactly what I'll do. And yeah, that'll be the thing that's next, is marketing all this stuff. Because again, if we're in the same room or we're talking face to face, we can talk about it and make things happen. And online is the same thing, really. But I don't like being spammy with it, because it's like, I don't like cold calls. Cold calling to me is just so rude. I don't like telemarketers. Don't call me out of the blue, offer me the widget you think is going to make my life better, because even if it would make my life better, I assure you, you're not going to sell me. Ever. Because you invaded the wrong time, boss. Um, Oh yeah, like yeah, the credit card and things. Yeah, Damien bringing that up there. As far as like now, everything is like just touch it, zip, zap, and you're done. You're paid for. But yeah, back in the days when you had the little just death, it sounded like a torture device. You know, you put the paper down with the carbon thing, and then you just crunk crunk. Oh, it's terrible. It's just a pain inducing, because it really sounded like a torture device, like you were going to lose a finger, man. And thankfully, well, I never really had to deal with that a whole lot, because again, like my first jobs were all like cash or just regular old checks, you know. Because my first job was at a grocery store, family-owned grocery store. That was not great. Didn't enjoy it. So I went to work actually next door at the comic book store, Pie Eyes, Pieeyes, Pie Eyes, like Pac-Man's eyeballs, you know, Pie Eyes. And I went to work there, which of course was a good fit. And there's Tragic Store. You want Tragic Store? I'll give you a Tragic Store before we wrap up. So the grocery store was next door to the comic book store. After I left the comic book store, because I got my first job in radio at KMZX Touch 106, and I got the first job in radio, so I left the comic book store. And unfortunately, and I said this while I was there, in most grocery stores, I don't even know if I don't think they've got like cardboard, just all of them have the cardboard pecker crusher boxer bundle things. Back then though, at that grocery store, they had an incinerator. So there was no need to recycle. That was stupid. But you could throw it in there and burn stuff, right? At extremely high heat. And just like the cardboard peckers now, where you've got the button you push and it does the hydraulic thing and the door comes down and all that, and it's all pretty much OSHA friendly, unless you had the one idiot who'd get in there and accidentally go off and crush them. Not my problem. But anyway, back in those days, again, they had the incinerator, and it had the same button, but the button didn't always work. So sometimes you would have to like manually pull down the door, and the fire is still raging while you're pulling down the door in your face. And I'm like, this isn't safe at all. But I was young. I didn't care. I was 16. I'm going to live forever. But I warned everybody. I was like, this is not good. This is something bad is going to happen. I wasn't psychic. I was observing. And unfortunately, probably about maybe a month after I left the comic book store and went to work at the radio station, that damn incinerator burned the whole damn thing down. It just burned down the grocery store and the comic book store next door. The rest of the little strip mall was fine, but the comic book store, and that was heartbreaking because I knew everything that was in there, and it was amazing stuff. This was 1980. I know it was 90, I guess, 89, 90, right in there. And but yeah, and it all went up. And dude had, like all comic book stores do, especially back in those days, he had all the great stuff, the old vintage golden age stuff and the toys and everything, and gone. And he didn't have insurance. I think he eventually rebuilt. He was kind of an ass though, so he was definitely one of those weird comic book store guys. He really was. Very pale fellow. He always wore overalls, which was very weird in that environment to me at the time, but whatever. And a weird looking fellow. And his wife, they looked the same. You would think they were brother and sister. Maybe they were. Don't know. But it was weird for that many pasty white people. I'll tell you a couple stories from there at another time, working at that comic book store at that time. It was very interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting. Very interesting. All right, it's 9:01. I need to get to, I got to go sell this stuff. And so that's what I'm going to do now. I got to get ready for tonight's conversation with Miss Micah Ashby, who's running for U.S. Senate. And we're gonna have a productive day, no matter what. That's what we're doing every single day. And we're going to close out with what we opened up with. And again, the assistant that never has to go pee. See you guys in the morning.
got 17. Asked it for facts, it gave me vibes. Said trust the process, buddy, that's lies. It said I'm learning, I said same here. But learning don't help when the deadline's near. My AI called it sick today, said it's still a little abstract. Too many facts are rated anyway. Confidence to where it's at, yeah, my AI called it today. Left me holding the bag myself. Guess it's back to my brain, my spine, my guts. No help desk, no bot, just me and my shell.